Hello, my loves, and welcome to a new episode of Thursday Thyroid Talks. The one and only Stephanie Nelsen is going to be with us today, aka Anxiety Demolisher. I just made up that nickname yesterday and we loved it. We loved it. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for being here, darling. Sorry, we're running a little late. Both of us kind of had some things come up this morning, but we're here now and we're ready to talk about all things anxiety. What is anxiety from? How do you deal with it? And all of some quick ins and outs of anxiety, nervousness, worry, fear, panic attacks. So thank you for being here, either live or on the replay. I just want you guys to know how much I cherish my podcast for multiple reasons. I started this podcast because I was divinely messaged and told that I needed to have a podcast to be able to bring women on in order to share their stories with one another within the thyroid community in order to combat feelings of isolation, loneliness, confusion, and more. And over the years, as I've continued to do these episodes and I've had thyroid warriors come on and share their experiences, the feedback has been absolutely 100% correct to what my divine inspiration guided me to starting this podcast on in the first place. And I just want you to know that episodes, I believe it's 1 through 12, they are pretty much all thyroid warriors that have shared their stories. There's every story you can imagine so far, from hyperthyroidism to the bulging eyes and the weight struggles, the depression, the thyroidectomies, all of us have a unique story and a unique journey that we've been through. So if you guys haven't already, I encourage you to go back to those episodes and listen to what these thyroid warriors shared, because you never know. It may be something similar to what you're going through. And I have had many women reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, listening to someone else's story made me cry. I didn't know other people were out there dealing with this just like I am. And it just warms my heart. It warms my heart to be that middleman, to be able to connect people together and edify. I honestly call it like the sisterhood medicine, bring that sisterhood medicine into each other's lives. And on that note, I wanted to just drop a couple of things that are coming. If you haven't been following me for long, or if you're not on my email list, I am in the middle of doing like a full rebrand, full revamp of my programs, like everything. And it's just so exciting. I'm working with a incredible business manager, and we are just making some amazing changes. And one of the changes that I've had on my heart for a long time is I wanted to increase my community networking and really be able to edify the sisterhood medicine. Oh, good, Steph's here. Yay! That I know so many of us need. And so I will be launching a community very soon on this new platform called Mighty Networks. So if you are not on my email list, I advise you to get on it. You can go to my website, coachshowjoy.com, enter your name, your email, and when you do, you'll get 5 freebies. One of them is a PDF called 6 Things I Wish I Would Have Been Told After I Was Diagnosed with Hashimoto's and Hypothyroidism, and then my 5-day video series for greater peace and higher energy. And without further ado, let's bring on my guest and colleague and friend, Stephanie Nelsen. Here she comes. Yay. Hello.
Let me try to adjust this a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that is
Been trying
better.
Oh, so I'm like, what does my makeup even look like?
You're you're good. I know you've had a really busy morning, so thank you so much for being here with me, and
like
I can't wait.
I am just not like a shopper. So, oh God, we don't want that one. Oh, what's that?
Oh, wow. That's fun.
So yeah, I got the pumpkin one on, so there we go.
You're good. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I didn't have a chance to get into any of your information yet, so why don't we start at the basics? Actually, you've been a guest on my podcast. We've done a couple of podcasts before in the past, and they're all incredible. If you guys want to see them, you can go to my YouTube page. We've done cheese crack, why
Mm,
you're addicted to cheese. We
that
did the one on dental health, what they're not telling you about dental health.
was-
Um, so good. So you guys got to go check our other podcasts out. So why don't you start at the beginning for all of our new followers and share how how you became an anxiety coach?
Yeah, so I became an anxiety coach because there's a couple different parts to the story. So I, at one point, was struggling really bad with my anxiety, and to the point where I went to the emergency room because I literally thought that there was something physically wrong with me. I thought I was having a heart attack or something. I didn't know what was going on. So I went to the emergency room, and the whole thing we're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, here's some Xanax and some list of therapists, and they sent me on my way. And while that information was helpful because then I knew exactly what I was dealing with, the medications and all of that didn't actually help. So instead of getting better, I ended up getting worse, and to the point where I felt like I had no other choice but to go on a daily medication, not just an as needed anxiety medication. So I did that, and of course, things did not really get that much better. And then I went on my own journey of figuring out, what is the root of this anxiety and what can I do to overcome it holistically and come off my medications. And that's exactly what I did. And for a while, really since college, I had had a passion for health and wellness, and it was just that it was kind of like a hobby. And then an opportunity came for me to actually pursue additional education to do the certified transformational nutrition coaching program and become a certified coach. And I took it, and I chose to help those with anxiety because of my situation. And one of the most shocking things that I discovered in my own journey was how common it was for women to suffer with anxiety their entire lives and never be told that there are things that you can do holistically that can help you with your anxiety. So I was like, I gotta tell people, like anybody who
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to be your coach. I want to help you through this because, from personal experience, I know how awful that anxiety is. So that is my story in a nutshell.
Actually, I want to speak more to the ER aspect of it because I have met a lot of women who have had a very almost like exact situation where they're like, something really was wrong with my body. It was very, very scary. And I didn't know what it was. And I went to the ER and they told me it was just anxiety. So, what kind of like physical things were you feeling and like that put you to that place in your mind where like, I need to go to the ER?
I was basically having a panic attack is what was happening. So I couldn't sleep for a couple days. So I got to the point where I was trying to fall asleep that night. I mean, I was obviously exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. So whenever I would go to fall asleep, it was like something inside my body jolted me awake. So it was that coupled with exhaustion, coupled with um, frustration, and I felt really tight in my chest. Could feel it in my throat. I could feel it, just like if you've ever started to hyperventilate. That's kind of what a panic attack is, just just more severe. So that's kind of what I started feeling, you know, sweating, feeling like flush in my face, and just really not like knowing what was going on. So yeah, to answer.
Did you have like the heart palpitations and
Yeah,
like your heart was it even like skipping beats, or did it just feel like it was beating really fast?
I honestly don't.
Okay. Yeah, because in and I like describing the symptoms because this is what a lot of women go to the hospital for, because they have these things and they're like, well, what is this?
Hmm.
Excuse me, I'm still getting my cold. So, um, yeah, so it's really important to say like the hyperventilation, heart palpitations. Like I used to get the skipping of beats, and it was all very much heart related for me too. Like I felt sharp pains in my heart, and that put me into even more panic with the fear thoughts of like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my heart, and the whole
Exactly.
heart attack thoughts are really scary.
Yeah, I think that definitely just what like I know we know about anxiety too, that our thoughts fuel it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it as well, is having these symptoms, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like so scary, and then you kind of freak yourself out and psych yourself out because you don't know what's going on, and that just makes it that much worse.
Yeah, it escalates it to like Mach 9,000. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so after you became a certified transformational nutrition coach and you started realizing like all these women are suffering from anxiety, but no one's really helping them, they're just medicating them. what what did you start figuring out was the cause of anxiety, or what do you feel like are some factors or causes of anxiety?
Yeah, there are so many. Um, one of the so um, poor sleep schedule, poor mindset, blood sugar imbalance can create anxiety-like symptoms. Thyroid issues can contribute to anxiety symptoms. A lack of purpose, and I talked about this in my stories yesterday. A lack of purpose can manifest into anxiety. Um, what are some of the other things? Did I say sleep? Like,
Yeah.
did I say that? Yeah, your gut health. So an imbalanced gut can be a cause. Trauma is obviously a very big cause. And anything that's going to get your nervous system overtaxed and overworked. So, and when you are overtaxed or overstressed, or you're going through a long period of time, you're stressing your body out, then you're getting into more of like the mineral and the vitamin deficiencies that are going to make it harder for your body to function properly. And then that can contribute to panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and feelings of doom and things like that. Just like we know, if you're experiencing copper dumping, or if you have a copper imbalance, which I don't think I've come across it yet doing the HTMA that hasn't shown signs of a copper imbalance.
Yeah.
Copper dumping, or those imbalanced symptoms can, like, some of the symptoms are anxiety, panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many different things. It's never one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me more about the purpose one. That's interesting.
Hmm. Yeah. So not having, like, we all want to have a sense of, like, why are we here? Like, why, like, what is my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, how am I, like, supposed to be fulfilling my, like, there's other words I'm trying to find, but other than purpose, but what am
Like
I,
your path.
yeah, your path. What am I here for? And when we don't have that, if we're just kind of going, or through the motions of our routine, especially what I find when you're struggling with anxiety, you don't have the mental capacity to even be open to the idea of, like, what's your purpose, or taking that action to do something that is something that you would enjoy or you are passionate about. Passion. I was thinking of. And it can it can manifest as a lot of these anxious and worrisome feelings and thoughts. So
That makes sense.
what am I doing? Like what's my purpose? Like, and if anybody has experienced that, I would love to know in the chat as well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, um, I felt that. I
Mm-hmm.
felt that myself many times when I was, it probably started like 5 years into my illness. I, I remember I would kind of just sit and cry on the edge of my bed and literally like ask God that, like, what am I here for? Like, obviously, I'm a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a home, housekeeper, but like, what am I for? What's my purpose? And it was like a frustrating feeling, and like you just feel lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the spiritual health. That's a
Yeah.
that is having a purpose and feeling like you're making a difference in the world. Um, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like let's bring it back to one of the other ones that you and I both know are really big issues with the nutrient depletions. You and I both offer the hair tissue mineral analysis to our clientele, and we study and we see the results all the time. And what are some things that you're seeing? Like you said, the copper dumping and the biounavailable copper, but what are some other things you're seeing in regards to like anxiety and
Yeah. So obviously with anxiety, there are adrenal issues. So whether you're newer to being stressed or whether it's something where you have chronic anxiety, what I'm seeing is a couple different things. Is depending on the stage of stress that you're in, is that either your magnesium and calcium are your body's burning through it. I might have these like backwards, so you have to correct me if I have it backwards. So when you're in the first stages, I think it's the other way. I think it's the other way. Your calcium and your magnesium are going to be lower. And then your body's burning through your sodium and your potassium. So those are much higher above where they're supposed to be at on the test. And it's because when you're under a lot of stress, your adrenals are burning through the potassium and the sodium and the magnesium. And then what happens is if you continue on that path, then you go to the exhaustion stage of adrenal issues, and you'll notice that the sodium and the potassium go below. So in the HTMA world, we call that tanked. And we may see the calcium and the magnesium go up because your body is trying to relieve you from the stress that you are under. Or we may see all of your minerals tanked, and that means you're completely exhausted. And when you're exhausted, that can bring a lot of anxiety as well, because you're probably not sleeping well either, especially if you're burning through magnesium. Because if it's higher on the test, then that doesn't mean that you're consuming too much or that your body has too much. What it's doing is pulling it out of the places where we need it, and it's putting it in the places where you will feel a numbing effect. And that's not where we need it. It's just a defense mechanism that our body has. So again, with magnesium too, if you are deficient in magnesium, you are unable to handle stress as well as if you were completely full of magnesium. And then when you don't have enough magnesium, try to see if I said this right, you
yeah,
can't
you are.
afford. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you don't have enough, you can't handle stress. And then when you are stressed, you're burning through more magnesium. So it's like one of those things that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you explained all of that perfectly. Good job. Yeah,
Thanks.
it's you and I, we try to scream the nutrient deficiency thing off our, the rooftops every day and let everyone know that um just basic sodium,
Mm-hmm.
sodium, literally salt, you guys, like a decent salt, Celtic sea salt or a pink Himalayan or potassium, eating foods high in potassium, like sweet potatoes,
Hmm.
bananas.
Regular potatoes with the
Yeah,
skin,
potatoes.
organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drinking a all natural, pure coconut water that's high in potassium and instead of a Gatorade.
Hmm.
You know, these basic minerals that are never discussed are seriously such an underlying
Hmm.
factor to anxiety. And I know for myself, um, I never went to the ER, but my anxiety was crippling, just, similar to yours, similar to everyone else's. And when I started addressing the nutrients and my mindset at the same time, and I want you to go into mindset next,
Hmm.
um, it was like I unlocked my own prison and opened the door. And I haven't had anxiety since. I haven't had a panic attack in like 6 years, even around like things that would really trigger me before, like the airport, and places that were really scary to me.
Yeah.
I've been able to manage and be okay. And it's just such a relief. And, so that's why I wanted to have you on today. So people know that there's so much more they can do for themselves beyond Xanax and the other
Oh, yeah.
meds.
There are so many like just super basic things that you can do. Like a lot of people, and I didn't mention this before and I just forgot about it until now, is that caffeine. Like
Yeah.
caffeine can literally put your body in a state to have an anxiety or panic attack. Like that's what it does. It was designed
Mm-hmm.
to. So I've had so much success with clients and people who just take, 'cause I share it. Like if you go through my Instagram and you look at like the posts in my reels, I feel like at least 10% of them are all talking about caffeine. And when people actually take that advice and they implement it, they come back to me and they say, wow, like I had a lot less panic attacks this week because I wasn't drinking caffeine all day long. So just like simple things like that. Um, but yeah, do you want to go into the mindset stuff?
Yeah, but I gotta speak to the caffeine really fast because that was like, again, that was like my thing is like I had no energy. So I caffeinated to survive the day, right? It was
Yep.
always my mindset, like, I gotta just make it through this day. So I'm gonna drink some energy drink. I'm gonna have some coffee. I'm gonna drink some more energy drink. I'm gonna have some more coffee. Um, and it was like I was just like buzzing. I felt like I was buzzing all day long, like twitching and shit. But so it was like no wonder I was a prisoner to my anxiety, and that was just proliferating the nutrient deficiencies. Which just all of that combined, it gets you in your head, and you're just like, oh, you start building all these stories around why you can't do things because of you're gonna have a panic attack.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go into mindset because that's like I feel like that's a massive aspect to it.
Yeah, and I think it's something that this was true for me. You don't until you know you don't know. You know? It's like we walk around all day long and whether you're realizing it or not, you have a lot of the same thoughts going on. And one of the things that I noticed and had to change is, well, first notice like what I'm actually like saying to myself in a general sense and then in a very specific sense. And I noticed like I had a lot of issues with sleep. And I had anxiety around sleep because of the panic attacks that I had had because I couldn't sleep. And I
Mm.
find that anxiety or anxiety about having a panic attack is very common. So I had to change my thought process because what I was doing to myself was I was already projecting and predicting that I was going to have an anxiety attack or I was going to have trouble falling asleep just by what I was thinking. Because my thought process was this: oh man, like I'm like, what if I can't sleep? Like I feel so anxious, like I can't fall asleep. Like, oh my gosh, like what if I have another panic attack? Like that is exactly what my thought process would be. So I had to reframe that with that and literally everything else. And a really easy way to do that, especially if you're like, you're so used to being so negative and so worrisome, is to start a gratitude practice because it starts to train your brain to think in a positive way and also to start seeking out the things in your environment that you are grateful for, the things that are going well. Because whatever we focus on will be magnified. Whether in reality it's that big or not, it doesn't matter. If we're focusing all of our attention on it and all of our thoughts are being consumed by that one negative thing, that will be magnified, and then we will then in turn experience more of that, because whatever we're thinking, it creates our reality. So one of the biggest things to help change those anxious thoughts and that constant worry that creates the anxiety is to start paying attention to your thoughts, and writing them down is a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And learn how to reframe that and change the way that your brain is wired to think in certain situations. So yeah, gratitude is a great beginner practice. And then it goes, I mean, it definitely goes deeper and deeper. And this is still a practice that I have to do with certain things and go deeper and deeper in on, even to this day. So yeah, our mindset is huge with anxiety and, everything else in life as well.
It's like, as you were talking, I was having like memories
Mm-hmm.
of how I used to do the same thing. And so I named this the what if game.
Oh, the what if game. I thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah. I named it the what if game. And I
Mm.
realized years, years later, it took me years to realize like what you were just saying, that I should pay attention to my thoughts and start focusing on my thoughts, because that's not something we're taught.
No, it didn't even like occur to me to
Yeah.
like into it. Never.
Yeah. We all just allow these thoughts to race through our mind day and night, night and day. And it's like we just don't even control it. It's like we don't even notice it. And the majority of our thoughts, like you said, are the same day every day, but they're negative. And
Mm-hmm.
when I learned that a negative thought is 70 times more powerful than a positive thought, I
Mm.
was like, damn, I got to pay attention to this. And like you said, what you think about, you create. What you think about and focus on, you get. And
Mm-hmm.
that also applies to our physical body and our physical reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, if you're going to play the what if game, I used to do the same thing. Literally, I would say the same things to myself before I was going to bed. What if I don't sleep tonight? What if my stomach hurts tonight?
Yeah.
And it was like, not like I had some big day the next day, but it was still scary feeling.
Yeah. And then you're like,
And
what if I don't sleep? Then, what if I then have, because I didn't sleep, like, what if I have an
yeah,
anxiety? What if I can't go into work tomorrow? Or like, all of these things. And the anxiety spiral.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I learned, because I had, like you, I had to study this in order to break free of my prison. One of the things that, okay, so let me get back to the what if game.
Yeah.
So once I started realizing I was doing this what if game in my head, I was like, well, why can't I just flip it?
Mm.
And why can't I just, like you said, reframe it and change it to, what if I get great sleep tonight?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
What if I sleep amazingly tonight? And what if I have a fantastic day tomorrow because I sleep so great tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And like, when you just simply change those what ifs, you can still play the what if game with yourself if you want to. Just switch it to a positive what if. It's amazing, the physical, like the actual, how you go from that dread feeling in your chest to
Mm-hmm.
like free, like you feel lighter and happier.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's
Yeah.
very, very significant.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And it happens with like when you do gratitude, like true gratitude, you feel the sense of like peace, and it produces the feel good hormones in your body when you're truly grateful about it.
Yes, you're so right. That is, it's like, so, okay, so for example, something they could do, right? So imagine you get in bed and you're having the like you said, like we said, the what if, like psychotic what if scary thoughts, right? I call them the negative looping thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
If if they started to do what you're saying and just start counting their blessings.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that called a pattern interrupt as well?
It may be.
Because they're like stopping the what if looping and they're going into gratitude and it's like pulling the e-brake like
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like you're refocusing on things you're grateful for, which make you calm down, your adrenals stop releasing all of the scary things and you can actually soothe yourself to sleep. But one of the things that I learned that has stuck with me all these years, I don't know if you ever tried this. Did you ever take melatonin?
Mm.
Okay. One of the things I tried when I would get stuck in the like what if game and I couldn't go to bed was I would take melatonin. I take like a 3 milligram or something. And I'll never forget, I was reading this book that said when you go into fight or flight from anxiety, it it those hormones, the like adrenaline and everything, they block the melatonin that your brain releases at nighttime. Like it overrides it, not blocks it, like overrides it.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so if you've ever laid awake having a panic attack or like worrying, you never feel tired, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh,
It's
that
that
doesn't.
internal like defense mechanism that the fight or flight is, because if
Mm-hmm.
you get somewhere or fight for survival, you don't need melatonin. You need the chemicals that are going to wake you up and make you alert. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally crazy, huh? And so um it's like just once you understand these little things, it empowers you so much to be able to counter it. And I want to say one other thing, then I want to ask you tips for controlling anxiety. Um, the one other thing that was really empowering was I learned that a panic attack is only 90 seconds. And if you can make it through that 90 seconds, that makes you feel like you're going to die. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to die, but
Mm-hmm.
you'll actually come out on the other side and you'll start calming down and feeling better. That was a huge relief as well. I'm like, okay, I know this only lasts 90 seconds and I'll be okay.
Yeah,
And
and I last longer to try to fight it.
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go into some awesome tips on how to deal with anxiety.
Okay. So one, I'm just gonna give some of like the quick and easy ones that I always share. And one of those, and was my favorite, the first thing that I tried to implement to control the anxiety and panic attacks was Mel Robbins' 5 second rule. And the way that it works is, and if you want to, you can YouTube Mel Robbins to see how she created this and why. I'm not going to get into that. But the way that it works is you count backwards from 5 to 1. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then what I teach is to state either in your head or out loud, I am safe. Because at the core, your fight or flight is activated because on some level your body thinks that it's unsafe. So to say I'm safe, to kind of affirm and tell your nervous system that you're safe, you don't need to be turned on. In the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that is a pattern interrupt for sure. And it can help to rewire if you normally are in. So typically, what I find is that you have your own typical cycle of anxiety. So what happens when you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is it breaks that up. So every single time that you are in your worry cycle, especially if it's around something specifically, if you're triggered by something, or if it's when you're going to sleep, or when you're about to make your presentation, or when you're driving or going to the grocery store, and you have this ingrained response of anxiety and panic, that that gets wired again and again and again and reinforced again and again and again every single time that you do that. So you need to break that up. So the 5 4 3 2 1 technique, the 5-second rule, will break that up. So the great thing about it that I love is you can do it anywhere. You can do it in your head. 5 4 3 2 1, I am safe. 5 4 3 2 1, I am safe. And that helps to kind of break up that cycle. So that is one that I love. And I'll use it if I'm feeling stressed or like overwhelmed about something. Like I will use that because I think it's just so powerful when you make it a habit to do that instead of continuing in the anxiety spiral when you find yourself in one. And then a second one, like I've already shared, the gratitude to help to start to change your mindset. If this is something that's very new to you, I will add another one to that. What you can do is if you've never really paid attention to your thoughts, is to start writing them down, especially when you are feeling that tenseness, that anxiety, before you get into like a full-blown panic attack, is to actually write down the thoughts that are in your head. And then you can go and kind of rewire. There's so many different things that you can do. You can rewrite them into something that, instead of what you don't want, because I'm positive that what you are telling yourself is something that you don't actually want to happen. So using that and changing it to what you do want to happen is one way. Oh God, the second way is like just went out of my head.
Well, I love that first one, first of all, like the I'm safe. I've never thought to use those words, but
Mhm.
that is, it's so true, like anxiety is not feeling safe. And it's like, well, how can we not feel safe going to bed? Kind of seems silly, but it is so true. And I almost envision like hugging yourself too,
Mm,
like if you need to, like
mhm.
5 4 3 2 1, I'm safe, I'm safe, and just like really loving on yourself in that moment.
Yeah. If I think about that other part of the thought thing, I'll share it, but it
Oh
went out.
yes. So you
Um,
said three so far. So the 5 4 3 2 1, I'm safe.
mhm,
Um, Gratitude.
mhm.
Um,
The
what the heck?
writing out your
Yeah,
thoughts. Yeah, start paying it.
yeah. Paying attention, writing down your thoughts, and it's when you start doing that alone, you're like, oh my gosh, am I really thinking this? Like, why am I thinking this? This is not, like you said, this is not what I want. What the heck?
Yeah. Um, and then what's another one? Again, we talked about caffeine. I would strongly
Oh
recommend
yeah.
who are drinking or consuming caffeine, like tons of it, um, in any way, shape, or form. So energy drinks, soda, coffee, lattes, even if you're like someone who's consuming a lot of like chocolate, because if you consume enough chocolate, and especially if it's like the higher purity, like the 70% or higher, you could potentially be consuming a lot of caffeine from those sources as well. And you're struggling with daily anxiety, start cutting that out. I have tons of stuff on my Instagram about ways to do that, so you can just go find that there. Um, but yeah, that's definitely something that I would recommend. Fifth thing, I think we're on number 5, is to really optimize. And you can do your gratitude at nighttime to help with sleep. Also, what I find that people do is they are bombarding their bodies and their eyes with blue light late at night. And this was me. And I didn't realize the negative effect that it had on my sleep.
Mm.
So either getting blue light blockers or taking at least an hour before you go to bed to not watch any TV or be on any devices, especially if you don't have a blue light filter. Because back to the melatonin thing, it
Mm-hmm.
every hour of blue light that you expose yourself to after dark will suppress the body's ability to um sorry, I've been up like since really early this morning to
Produce melatonin.
produce melatonin for 30 minutes. So for every
Mm.
hour you're losing 30 minutes of melatonin production. So that's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And our skin is also we have receptors on our skin for light as well. So I try to keep the lights as dim as possible, like in the evening, to avoid even the light from any of that, and making sure that the room is completely dark at night.
Yes. Sean Stevenson's book, what was it, Sleep Smarter?
Yep.
Oh, I mean, talk about like amazing ways to
Mm-hmm.
like change your environment to induce like proper sleep. Yes, I learned that from him that are like what you just said, the skin. I had no idea. And so I started looking around my room one night and I noticed that when my TV was off, there was like this little light. And even though it was so small, it was so bright,
Mm-hmm.
and like my laptop would put off a little light and like all these little lights all over my room. And so I started putting black electrical tape over everything. And it was amazing how much darker it made my room. And I actually did sleep better.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
hate rooms that have light. Hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are great, all really great tips. So it was, let's see if I can remember them all. I'm like number one.
The 5 second rule.
Oh yeah, 5 second rule, five, four, three, two, one. I'm safe. Number two, write down your thoughts. Be aware of what you're thinking so that you can change them. Number three, gratitude practice. Start. Don't just say you're going to start. Start a legit gratitude practice. And I now I just like go off. It just pours out of me. But when I started this, it was like, okay, I said like I'm gonna say 10 things I'm thankful for. So if you have to start with like something specific, do that. Then it was caffeine. Oh, so we talked about coffee and chocolate. But one of the things that I'm noticing people aren't paying attention to that are also highly caffeinated is tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
Like
about
they're
like
like,
your black tea.
yeah, they think they're drinking their tea and it's all like healthy and good for them. But I'm like, is it full of caffeine?
Yeah, definitely. I think that there are really good benefits to drinking things like green tea, like especially for anxiety because it's got that L-theanine in it. However, depending on where you're at and how much you're drinking, that could still be too much for your nervous system right now.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them are really strong. And
And
on the,
yeah,
go ahead.
what you reminded me of when you said that was I had somebody once who was having a hard time sleeping and anxiety and all that. And she was doing her workouts in the evening and she was taking a pre-workout, a double scoop, which gave her 200 milligrams of caffeine. So you got to watch out for stuff like that too, because
Yeah,
they're caffeine, those pre-workouts.
that is such a good point. Because I know so many women that go to the gym after work and then they just douse themselves in caffeine. And so
Which is not
I,
even, if you're actually focusing in on sleep, you won't need like that boost. Like once you start your workout, like it should give you enough energy where you like I've never understood the pre-workout for people other than those who are maybe professional athletes. Like I just don't think it's necessary.
I agree. And honestly, like in my opinion, I eat a banana because it's like pure energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I should like a marketing market just like with anything else like in the food industry. Like it's outside of weightlifters, power lifters, like someone who's teaching classes like all day long, like I really don't see the need in it.
Yeah. Because all
There's
it's doing,
like you don't need it.
yeah.
Like if you need caffeine to work out, there's bigger problems that you need to work on.
Amen. If you need caffeine to work out, that means you have prolonged or chronic fatigue,
Hmm.
which means that you probably have adrenal problems, which means you probably have thyroid problems, which means you probably have mineral depletions. And there is a way bigger problem going in, underneath all of that. Um,
That exercise that you're doing anyway because it's too much for your adrenals.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You're pushing yourself too hard. You're overexerting it. I remember this acupuncturist I went to. I love Chinese medicine, and the way she explained it to me, because I was still living on caffeine back then, and she was like, when you drink caffeine, you're going into a negative energy. Like you're going into an energy deficiency. It's a negative. You're drawing from negative stores that you
yeah,
shouldn't.
it's kind of like a credit card almost. Though, they when you use them properly, they're fine. But yeah, it's kind of like the same idea. Like you're using something that you don't actually have.
Yeah. And when I heard her say it to me that way, I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watch out for your pre-workouts. I mean, 200 milligrams of caffeine, like what, even if it's 4 or 5 hours before bed, I think
Oh,
I read, I think I read that it takes 8 to 12 hours for a body just to process like 15 milligrams of caffeine.
it's like 5 to 12 hours for your body to remove half the caffeine that you consumed.
And that's only half.
Half,
Yeah.
yeah, the half-life of metabolism.
Yeah. So then again, it's like, no wonder, it's like, then you're going to put yourself into the anxiety of like, I'm not tired. I can't sleep. Oh crap. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. And like that vicious cycle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Europeans like drink coffee at dinner. I know. That's like a thing over there. Like they like drink
Wow.
like, espresso in the evenings.
Oh my gosh. I would be up until like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they just way more relaxed than we are? So it doesn't affect
Well,
them.
okay. Let's be honest. We've heard a lot of really positive things about the food system from Europe. And what do you bet their coffee, their espresso is a lot cleaner than ours?
Oh yeah.
And it's, you know what I mean? It's probably not full of mold and all this junk and all the pesticides and herbicides. So maybe theirs just doesn't affect their bodies like our crappy caffeine does
I
here.
mean, I could drink my mushroom like or my four sigmatic mushroom coffee at night and I wouldn't be able to sleep. And that's
Yeah. Yeah.
strange.
And most people are, it's very normal for people to be very sensitive to it. Every now and then I'll find someone that like processes it and like they're like, yeah, I could drink an energy drink and go to bed. I'm like, wow.
That's yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, is that good or bad? They're like,
I feel like it's bad because we know those things are so bad for you. So if it's not having an effect on you, then in the energy way, it's having an effect on you in other ways that you're going to pay for it at some point.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, amen. Um, so thank you for sharing all of that with us. Very, very valuable tips that I highly encourage everyone to actually try, not just sit here, listen, and then say, oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. Like literally pick one, start with one, try it, implement it. Because anxiety, it's terrible. Like we know how you feel. So try to implement some of these tools if you really are struggling and let us know. You could email or DM one of us or comment on this live in the future and let us know if it's
Yeah.
something or
Yeah.
yeah, any way you want to contact us. So why don't you let everyone know? Oh, sorry, I was about to sneeze. Where where they could find you. Do you have any freebies to offer?
So you can find me on Instagram at stephanie.nelsen.ctnc. And my website, which if you have questions about working with me or anything like that, I would recommend just reaching out to me on Instagram. But if you want to check out my website, it's stephanienelsonCTNC.com. And if you go on my website and sign up for my newsletter, you will get a free resource called the Fear Less, Live More resource. And that's one of those tools that will help you with those fear-based thoughts. And when you are experiencing anxiety, it will help walk you through how to deal with that. It's one way to deal with it. So it's a really great resource. And then, of course, on my Instagram, there's tons of information on there. If you follow my stories, there'll be information there too. So yeah.
Yeah, she's always dropping like so many things on her reels. So yeah, definitely follow her. And if anxiety is just like absolutely caving in your life and imprisoning you, DM her, talk to her about her programs. She's a wonderful coach. She's helped a lot of women already. Definitely reach out to her. So thanks again for being here. Always a pleasure.
For having me on. This is fun as always.
Yes, yes, my love. All right. Well, I will let you go. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.